Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Some Good News, Harney District Hospital, Episode 4. Hey, one of the things that we struggle with a lot as healthcare administrators, especially here at Harney District Hospital, is rumor control. There are always so many rumors, and it's a battle to just stay on top of them and make sure that things are being addressed and that communication is happening. Well, there's one rumor I would like to put to rest right now, right off the bat. There's a rumor going around that behind this mask of mine, I'm hiding something. So let's find out. Am I really? There you go. Dan has a beard. The rumors are true. Everybody out there talking about it? Yes, I am growing a beard. It's a Harney County thing to do. I am part of Harney County, and look, I'm growing a beard. So that rumor is absolutely true. Again, welcome to Harney County Health District's version of Some Good News. This is episode 4, and I'm excited to share a few things with you today. Hey, I would like to give a shout out to so many of our staff who are celebrating weeks for their specific disciplines and professions. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, and it's the start of Nursing Week. And I just want our nurses to know how much I admire them, respect them, and care for you. You are absolute heroes in my mind. Coming here day after day, putting your life on the line, taking care of people, being compassionate, being caring, and doing it with a good heart and good intentions, and just have so much respect for you and everything you're doing. So happy Nurses Week. Very excited to celebrate that with you this week. Also, there's lots of other disciplines that have had their weeks recently. And we recently celebrated Lab Week. Very grateful for the lab employees and the work that they do, coming here, doing blood draws, running tests, making sure that we have accurate results. Mike does a great job with that department. Appreciate your work, Mike, and staff. Hey, we also recently celebrated Admitting Clerk Week. That includes the admitting folks at the front of the hospital, as well as those in the family care clinic. Grateful for you as patients come in, as visitors come in. You're the very first thing they see, and you're there taking care of all comers. So thank you so much for the work that you do. We appreciate you very, very much. And we also recently celebrated Outreach Coordinator Week. This includes Savannah and Suzanne that work in our outreach department. All the work that they do with Cancer, with all the community events. They really do a great job keeping our name out there in the community, promoting us, giving us goodwill out among the community. So Savannah and Suzanne, thank you. Appreciate you and the work that you're doing. You're awesome. Thank you. Hey, another piece of good news that I would like to share is that this Friday morning at 10:35 a.m. Friday morning, the Oregon Air National Guard is going to do a flyover of Burns. So everybody, mark it on your calendars, write it down. If you're able to slip outside and see it, it's going to be a great event. It's in honor of you, our healthcare workers here in the community, as a way for them to say thank you for all the great work that you're doing. So Friday morning, 10:35, Oregon Air National Guard flyover. Be there if at all possible. And we have more good news. Several businesses in our community continue to share their love and their appreciation for our healthcare givers. Last week we had Tyler from Grocery Outlet here in Hines and Burns, who donated to us 2,000 gloves, 500 procedure masks, and 20 face shields. Tyler and Grocery Outlet, thank you. Thank you for caring about our caregivers. We also had a donation from Annie's Bakery. Annie brought over several boxes of baked goods that went in the different break rooms, and just to brighten up everyone's day and provide some cheer. So Annie from Annie's Bakery, thank you. Appreciate you thinking about us and caring about our staff. You're awesome, Annie. And then we also had a donation from OTEC, Oregon Trail Electric. Their board made a vote and decided to donate to us $500 to help us through the COVID-19 crisis and for our caregivers. So thank you, OTEC. Appreciate you and your support for our organization and for our hospital. For this week's episode of Some Good News Harney District Hospital, I want to highlight our screeners, those that we all see every single day as we come into the hospital. Had an interview with Mandy, who works in the Family Care Center, and I asked Mandy to tell us a little bit about what it's like being a screener. So here's my interview with Mandy. Okay. All right, so I'm here with Mandy from Family Care, who does referrals, and she's been doing screening each day for a while. So Mandy, how long have you been doing the screening?
Probably 4 or 5 days for 6 weeks since we've been open.
Okay, so a lot of time then.
Mm-hmm.
And how's it been for you?
It's been good. It's been challenging seeing everybody and new faces, but it's been good.
So what's a normal day like for a screener?
You come to work, you get your PPE on, and then you just get to greet everybody, take their temperatures, make sure that they don't have any symptoms, and then they can go from there.
Okay, have there been any scary moments or anything that's been concerning over the last 6 weeks that you've been doing this?
No, not really. Everybody's pretty patient and pretty kind, and they're understanding. Okay.
So is there anything that staff can do to make it easier for you when they come and get screened?
Nope. The staff is pretty patient. They're super kind as well. They have patience, which is great. People with patience are great with this because the thermometers don't work so well, especially when it's cold.
All right. Anything else you want to share?
Nope. That's it.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, and finally, I'd like to share some good news from the Eastern Oregon Coordinated Care Organization. We call it EOCCO, and it's the funding arm for Medicaid here in Oregon and Eastern Oregon. So I had an interview with Shawns, their CEO, along with Jessica and Annette from the Family Care Clinic, who work very closely with the EOCCO. Shawns is going to explain a little bit about the EOCCO, why it exists, what they do, and then some really good news is we were highlighted and recognized as the best in Eastern Oregon for meeting our quality metrics. So here's my interview with them. Enjoy it, and welcome to learn more about Eastern Oregon CCO. So we have Shawns Jessup, and Shawn, you are the CEO of the EOCCO, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then we also have from our Family Care Clinic, Annette Thomas and Jessica Richardson. And as you know, I'm Dan Grigg. And so I've asked Shawn to join us today to talk a little bit about what is a coordinated care organization, give a brief description of that, and then why did MODA choose to participate in that and create the Eastern Oregon CCO? And then thirdly, what role have we played in contributing to the success of the CCO as Harney County or as our health district? And so Shawn, if you don't mind just kind of sharing a little background and your take on that, and just have a little dialogue back and forth.
Sure, happy to do that. So, I've been with MODA for 22 years as of June 1st this year. So, a lot of my career has been at MODA, and I've worked in Medicaid really since the beginning, kind of working my way up through the company, and have had the pleasure of, being part of the startup of the CCO concept in the state of Oregon and the startup of the Eastern Oregon CCO. So really the concept of a CCO really started kind of back at the end of the last, recession, coming out of that at the end of 2009, 2010, and the state had, a pretty significant budget hole that they were needing to fill. And so rather than go through some of the normal things you would do, cut benefits, cut eligibility for Medicaid members, the governor, Kitzhopper at the time, came up with this vision of the coordinated care organizations. And essentially what it was where you would take medical, dental, behavioral health, and the transportation benefit that's always been available to Medicaid members in Oregon, and have all that care coordinated through a single entity called a coordinated care organization. And then when the coordinated care organizations were formed, the idea was that CCOs would coordinate, in addition to the coordinating all those benefits, they would also look to involve the providers in the community in how care is being delivered, and they would implement value-based payment models. They would work on meeting quality metrics and paying for outcomes, So those are examples of the CCO model when it first started back in 2011. And then fast forwarding to this point, all the CCOs really had been in place for about 7 years, and in 2019, all the CCOs had to reapply if they wanted to continue in their service area or expand their service areas. And so taking all the things that we learned from CCO 1.0 and moving that into CCO 2.0, we do have some new requirements, and those requirements are to continue to progress implementation of value-based payment models, really focusing on better integration of behavioral health. In particular, how do we make sure behavioral health provided in primary care is happening and being paid for when that hasn't traditionally been the case. And then focusing on the social determinants of health is a big piece of CCO 2.0. And then lastly, continuing to slow the rate of growth and the spend on Medicaid. And essentially what that means is, every year, typically the rate increases or the spend on Medicaid is typically 5.5–6% per capita per year. And so that has a lot of strain on both the federal and state budgets. So the CCO's goal is to keep the rate of growth spending at 3.4% per year. So that's a brief just history of how the CCOs were formed, what some of the goals were of CCO 1.0, and what we're going to be doing as part of CCO 2.0 over the next 5 years.
Okay, is it fair to say, Shawn, that almost all of our Medicaid patients are part of EOCCO?
Yeah, so as Eastern Oregon CCO, our service area covers 12 counties in Eastern Oregon, obviously including Harney County, and so probably in any county, 90% of the Medicaid lives, if not more, are served by the CCO. There's always a small number of lives that may be served by the state. There's some eligibility categories of members where they remain on what's called open card, and the state manages that benefit. But by and large, most of the members are on EOCCO, and actually in Harney County, the numbers, almost 2,200 members are on Medicaid in Harney County that are part of EOCCO.
Okay. And I know that the state, there's a withhold every year, that the state holds back a certain amount of funds until the CCO meets quality metrics. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so one of the features of the CCO model has been what Dan referenced as every year there's a quality withhold or a quality holdback. And essentially what that means is that at the state level, about 4.25% of the premium dollars that would otherwise go to the plans, the CCOs to take care of members, are held back, and it's returned based on your ability to meet quality measure performance at the CCO level. So the state has about 17 to 19 in any given year quality measures that the CCOs are held responsible for. And for EOCCO, that dollar amount on any given year we have available if we meet our quality measure targets is about $12 million per year. So what we've done, and this has really been one of the great features of the CCO models, it really gave us the opportunity to begin to engage with our provider partners and our hospital partners on how can we work together to meet these measures, and how can we create incentives, financial incentives back to the providers for meeting those measures. So our clinical advisory panel of EOCCO, which is one of our committees essentially to help move the CCO model forward, had came up with a methodology for distributing quality dollars back to providers and selecting the quality measures that we'd want to hold providers responsible for. And that model's been in place for about 5 years, and for the 2019 calendar year, we just actually wrapped up calculating the results and the performance for 2019. And I am happy to say that for Harney County, Dan, in your particular clinic, you were the one and only clinic to meet 100% of their quality measure targets for this year. So congratulations on the great work doing that.
That's fantastic. So two of the people...
That's fantastic. And I'll just also say that, sometimes we hear from some of the smaller communities that, well, our numbers don't really matter in the grand scheme. There's a lot of other lives in different places. But I can tell you, every quality measure that's met does matter, because we've had years where we've missed quality measures by 1 or 2 or a half dozen people. And that's the difference between $1 million or not coming to the CCO. So just again to emphasize how fantastic that performance is and how much we appreciate from the EOCCO standpoint your work on that and for doing that and being the one and only clinic to do that this year. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you. Hey, Annette and Jessica, can you make sure you're in the camera?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what your role is in helping us get to 100%.
Well, I feel like we work well as a team. We really, well, that's like our biggest thrive is we try to get the measures met. Since this is our second year, we've been trying to focus more on trying to get them done sooner than later. So we really communicate with the providers and make sure that our measures are being met and making sure that we have the best care for our patients.
Fantastic.
Well, I think that part of our success comes from that the people that we work through EOCCO, when they send out those quality measures, they also send us out some ideas of how to implement those measures in our clinic, and I think those are really helpful, and I think those have been a real boon to us being able to meet these.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's working. So congratulations and thanks for your feedback on the data you're getting and the folks you're working with at EOCCO to help, because that is our goal, is to help you meet those measures in the best way we can. So thank you very much.
Yes, Courtney's been a great help the last couple of years for us. We really appreciate her. And Callie's been a great help as well since she just started.
Great. Well, I'll share that feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Jessica and Annette really are the boots on the ground folks that are making it all happen. And working with our doctors, coordinating it, and the reason we've gotten 100% is almost directly due to them and their hard work. So thank you guys. And
Thank you.
Just to put a dollar amount to that, we'll hand it for all of them. But to put a dollar amount with that, we got a check earlier this week. I don't have the exact number in front of it, about $220,000 because of the meeting that 100% of the quality metrics. So that's a huge amount for a small facility like ours.
Absolutely, and just to put another point on that, your collective, as you contribute to EOCCO's performance overall, in addition to what Dan mentioned, there's other dollars that go out to support your community. So whether it's funding for your local community advisory council, whether it's funding for the grant program that EOCCO has that Harney County providers or community partners have been able to apply for. So not only do your contributions help your individual clinic, but they help with the funding for the greater pool of EOCCO that then supports some of these other initiatives we have, like the LCAC funding. So it has multiple benefits across the system.
Yes, and we really appreciate it as well because we know that includes our patients getting the veggie vouchers from that income as well, and we do like the laundry vouchers and things like that. So it's really helped our community out a lot.
Great, yeah, agree.
So Sean, you and Robin and Moda Health have been a fantastic partner, and the work that you've done to coordinate and collaborate with all the hospitals in the Eastern Oregon region. I really appreciate your hard work, and the leadership that you're providing to the EOCCO. So thank you very, very much for all that you do and for being on this call this morning.
Absolutely, Dan, and thank you as well. I mean, you've been a great leader and a great partner in the CCO, even from your time, prior to working at Harney District Hospital. So we appreciate the partnership and your leadership, because if it was without the leadership of you and others like you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So a shout out to you as well, Dan. Thanks very much.
Thank you. All right,
Yeah,
Jessica,
thank you, Dan.
You have more to say?
No, I don't think so.
We're good.
We're good.
All right, thanks for joining us, Sean. Thank you. And
Thank you very much.
We'll send you a copy of this when it's all tied up in a bow.
Okay, sounds good, Dan.
Yeah, have a good
weekend, everyone. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining me this week on Some Good News Harney District Hospital. I hope you all have a fabulous and fantastic week. Take care.